Hello everyone, this is Mark Steinberg live again today on the theme of rebirth. And yeah, let's wait until a couple of people are coming online, and also my interviewer Violetta, she will join us. So let's wait a couple of moments. I hope you all had a good day in the middle of the week. Milky Way, great name. Okay. Ivy, hello. Just be patient for another minute or so. Okay. Proof.
And hello from me as well. Hello. So we are live and I see some people are already there. Hello everyone. So maybe let's wait just a minute to give everyone some time to join.
Wonderful. Good. I'm excited about the theme tonight. There's something very special, something very profound on the theme of rebirth. And I don't know if anybody has done something in that area. There's rebirthing as a breathing technique. Powerful, very powerful. I also have heard that there in Russia you can get buried in a safe way under the earth and then reborn. So yeah, shall we start the theme with a little bit of an introduction to the theme itself from my side?
Yes, let's do so. Yes. Okay. Absolutely. And I'm just going to say logistically, everyone who is listening live or in replay, you're most welcome to submit your comments and questions. And Mark will answer you live. So we will definitely get back to you. We'll read your comments. And if you're listening to a replay and have a comment, feel free to ask questions as well, because we're going to be watching your comments even after we're live. So we can get back to you.
Okay, great. So I don't know how it feels to watch a video like that. You know, you have a busy day, you feel good or you don't feel good or whatever. Life is just happening, and then suddenly the theme is rebirth. It's like a better things to do, or you know, like how does that fit in? And if your breathing would ask that question every time you need to exhale, then you would have a problem. So the inhale and the exhale, the inhale and the exhale, but we don't live like that. We just live inhale, 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 and hardly give the exhale enough space. And that's why we fall out of balance. And that's why our energy then is not on the level where we experience flow. And our body tells us all the time, rebirth yourself. Why? Because, don't know if you know, but 2 million cells every second in your body are dying, going. 2 million. That's scientifically proven. You can do your own research. It's a lot. And reborn as well. So the rebirth, the dying and the being reborn is a natural sequence of life, is a natural part of life. Our conditioning, especially in this culture, however, has outcasted the exhale, has outcasted the theme of death as if it's something that should not be looked at. And that's a very immature relationship that has a lot of consequences. We don't have rituals like adolescence rituals, typically in the teenage age, 15, 16, where you die as a child and you get reborn as an adult. We don't have the second spiritual crisis rituals, which are similar to the first crisis, which is in the teenage years. you know, in midlife crisis. So to die to the life you have lived so far and to rebirth yourself into a new domain, into a new possibility of being you. And the cells do it all the time, nature does it all the time, our breathing is doing it all the time, but we don't. And the rebirth is an essential part, yeah, essential part of being alive. Krishnamurti, my teacher, one of my teachers, he always said, if you don't know death, you don't know life. The one goes with the other. And in the rebirth retreat, I encourage the participants to spend a couple of hours in redefining death. You know, death is like Hollywood, and you know the dark black man with a you know sickle and taking your head away and your life away, and it's so negative. But is it
a man? I thought it was a woman, not a man, Mark.
No, it's usually der Sensemann, we call them in Germany. It's usually a man who is doing that job. But anyway, there's Kali, of course, in Indian philosophy, which is a woman, a goddess. And there are cultures where they wear white, where they celebrate that the soul now can fly, where they celebrate the liberation out of their body, the restriction is gone, and they party, and it's joyful. So, you know, there's a page in the workbook, and it says 10 reasons to celebrate death. It puts you upside down, right? It's like, and I'm asking you to really come up, just come up. You don't even need to feel it. It may not fit into your philosophical, spiritual, or religious framework, but it's a good exercise to go into a different perspective. And if it's just hypothetical, to say, hey, yeah, maybe it is all building up to that greatest moment of my life when I do the jump. Yes, and you will do the jump. And then that happens after 2 days into the retreat. You create the jump in a ritualistic way, of course, in a safe way, of course. And then in the morning you get reborn. And this rebirth, you're coming out of the water. Literally, you're in the pool, you're coming out of the water, and the first thing you say is, yes. You're not going to come out and say no as we live our lives, you know, no to this and no to that. I don't want to be alive, I just want to be left alone, I want to be comfortable. No. You say yes. And this is the first imprint into your circuits. 100 billion nerve and brain cells in your head are getting a yes stamp. Now from that foundation, we can build. From that foundation, then we can first ask your soul, okay, what are you up to? Second, your emotional body. What do you want to feel? Third, your mental body. So we go into the sequence of importance with regard to your essence. And then at the very end, you are invited to give an inauguration speech. Yeah? You know what an inauguration is? You know, when a president gets elected and then the moment when he gets sworn into the office, sworn into your life. So you are creating from your essence because you are free now from the past. You are now free to create. And then you give an inauguration speech telling the world of who you are and what your life is going to be about. But you can't do that when you're not free from the past. Now, freedom from the past is not losing your memory. You need your memory. You need to function, of course. Freedom from the past is that you're not making your memory in any way a foundation for your future. So you're not going to build or make decisions about your future from your negative or positive emotional memories. So what doesn't feel good or what even feels good, none of that leaves you free. Either you're addicted to highs, what makes you feel good, or you're going into reaction to what doesn't make you feel good. Both is reactive, both is giving you a future that is just a repetition from the past. So, a new future means you leave this reactive, high, low emotional state, and you are liberating yourself from being connected to the past as a state of being, as an emotional attachment. Of course, as I said, I repeat myself, of course you remember, you're not losing your memory, but you're not emotionally linked to it. So you're now really free. You know? Back then, when you were born into your physical body, you weren't free because you haven't had the consciousness and the awareness to make choices. But now you have. So now in this condition, being able to choose and being conscious of yourself and being able to have awareness, the birth happens again. You come out of the womb again. Now you're better equipped. Now you're equipped to make choices, right? And that is super exciting. I think our society should rebirth itself every 2 or 3 years. You know, one should go by default into a rebirth. You know, being free from the past, being free from all that stuff, and yeah, we're just giving people an opportunity who go into resonance with that, who say, well, yes, that makes total sense, and I'm also excited to find out who will I'm gonna be. Who am I when I totally let go, so deep, so fundamental, even in a ritual, that I really experience the nothingness and what's happening there when I'm in pure spirit, when there's no space, no time, no one, nowhere, when it's just being. And then, of course, you want to live because you were excited, you know, you get all that passion back. Your cells are starting to rejoice. And then you create. Then you give your inauguration speech, so you get it even recorded if you want, and you take office again in your life, in the next version of yourself. And that's the purpose. And that's what makes me excited. And I hope I can share this excitement with many, many people.
I mean, I think this work and this rite of passage of conscious dying and rebirth is something really, really unique. And it's wonderful that this process is now available in the form of a rebirth retreat. And questions. So we are open to questions, and I have one. So what would you say is the difference between consciously dying and becoming free from the past, emotionally unlinking yourself from the past, versus running away from the past and hiding from the past, just saying, oh no, I'm not here, I'm sorry, this version of me is dead, I take no responsibility for my mistakes? Where's this fine line?
Well, I guess everybody can differentiate between the two when you say it like this. And I object to what you're saying. It's not possible to hide from the past. It's absolutely not possible. We can delude ourselves, we can pretend, but the past, we are the past when we are not in our essence, when we are not in creation. We are our past. So what we cannot hide from ourselves, like you cannot hide from your shadow. It's always there. You can run, you can make circles, you can twist and jump in upside down. It's always there. You can't get away from it. We cannot run away from ourselves. And if you want to really experience what it's like to exist as a being, then you can't drag you as yesterday into the here and now and expect that you experience the expansion that is possible. You gotta be free than you are in the here and now, and that freedom is what it's all about.
And it's freedom from what? From what
freedom
exactly?
Freedom from emotional attachment to the past, including freedom from the interpretation of the past. Look, we are living by conditioning in a world where everybody is on a linear timeline. So we have a solid perception of yesterday as it would actually exist. But I'm asking everyone on the call, do you ever really have believed that yesterday does exist or tomorrow does exist? Because the only fact that you ever have in your life at any given moment, right now, right now, right now, right now, is now, right? So the past is a construct, a mental construct that helps the mind to go into cause and effect, and that gives us ability to plan, to create structures, which is all good. All technological progress is based on that. But psychologically, there is no past. That's a myth and also no future. Psychologically, there's only the here and the now. So freedom from this illusion means freedom from the past. Then you live in a vertical timeline. Then the here and now is opening up to you. Everything else is just an image about the here and now. See, people when they say, oh no, I'm in the here and now, they're not in the here and now. What they're saying is that my awareness is plus minus 2 seconds from into the past and into the future. That's what they believe is the here and now. It's not true. The here and now is a dissolution of time. You're not in time anymore. Then you're in the here and now. So when you ask me freedom from the past, what does it mean? Not only freedom from emotional attachment to my memories, but also freedom from the illusion of time. Then you're free from the past.
Okay. That is deep and profound, shall we say. And then what is the meaning of going through this initiation, through the ritual? What is the value in doing it all in a very ritualistic way, as we do at the Rebirth retreat?
Yes. Rituals allow us to experience. Now, when we are experiencing, not only our mental body, but our emotional body, and our being undergoes a process, which is very different from reading something or being lectured or thinking about it. Ritual is a language of symbolism and actions that have a impact on all our 4 bodies. So if I go into a ritual, I make an experience. When I make an experience, then my DNA is literally exposing itself to mutation, and I'm coming out of a ritual different from as I went in. And therefore, it's the right way to transform yourself. It's almost impossible without ritual to get to any new state of being.
Yeah, and those rituals got lost in the modern world. We don't do them anymore.
Yeah.
So, welcome to the ritual. I just posted a link to the PDF brochure about the Rebirth retreat, which is happening on Crete, October 13 till 18. And there are several spots left. So if you feel inspired by that and feel like starting a new chapter of your life, welcome to join. Are there any questions to the listeners? Is there anything you want to ask Mark? And
yeah, shoot.
I think everybody's so taken aback by the tips. I think Mark today, like, we're going really quantum with this whole inquiry, right? That time is an illusion. It's almost like this is the way to dissolve the matrix.
It is, literally it is. You know?
Here we go. And while people are thinking, I do have another question and another thought. In Master 2, when we practice the martial art of Hoja, we say that the ability to give death is the ability to give life. How can you expand on that?
it means that look, death is either is or is not. It's never 99%. It's always total. It's always 100%. As water doesn't boil at 99%, so rarely we are acting with 100%. We're not cooking with 100%. We're not working with 100%. We're not making love with 100%. We're not breathing with 100%. We're not living 100%, right? We always are 70, 80, sometimes only 40. And when giving life and giving death in its totality, it's one and the same movement. The old samurai code was very clear on that. It was always a spiritual journey to be a martial art master. It was never about winning, losing, showing off how powerful you are, all that nonsense. It was a spiritual path. And the difficulty and the challenge was to go into action that is so total and so such a surrender in totality that it rips you open completely, and in that openness life suddenly enters you, and then you know a different dimension. But it doesn't come when you play at 99%. And death has such an awe-inspiring energy when we get out of the story about it. Yeah, so not the black man and all the rest of it, you know, just the thing like exhale. Okay, it's awe-inspiring. Why? Because it is total. The totality in that is the ecstasy in that, and getting near to that space. And the participants, when going into the rituals, it's up to them how much they are allowing to go there. Yeah? Of course, nobody dies in reality in the retreat.
Just to be clear, and we are not locking anybody up in a coffin.
Yeah, we don't wrap snakes around you, and we don't bury you, and we don't hold your breath and all the rest of it. No.
No resurrection on the third day, huh?
But the rituals are very powerful, a very powerful space in which every participant can choose how far they want to go into it, how real they want to make it for themselves. And when you are near that totality, you feel on the one side like, oh my God. And on the other side, you feel like, oh my God. Yeah, the polarities. And space is suddenly shifting, and you feel like in a state of being. You know, when you live your life normally, it's your body, it's here, it's the world is out there, it's all sorted, you walk from here to walk from there. But when you come closer to the essence of life / death, then in this polarity, time is kind of bending, space is bending, and you experience a different reality or a different perspective on this reality. And I mean, most people experience parts of what I'm speaking here about when they have a real good trip with LSD or ayahuasca nowadays, or stuff like that. It helps, you know, to give you an experience that there is much more available for you to be present to than the normal everyday mode of being alive. And this is all linked to the energy of totality in life and death. And the samurais, they knew that it's the greatest honor and the greatest action to grace life with death and to grace death with life. You know, for them it was one and the same thing.
Yes, yes. Beautiful. In the meantime, we've got some questions. So Jamie is asking, what are your core rituals? I believe Mark has already answered to that. Can you just summarize what are the core rituals during the retreat?
Well, the core rituals are building or happening on the night of day 2. So we build up, we go through redefining death, we go through farewell, which is a very, very powerful process to complete your emotional attachments to people, to the world, to your body, etc. And when you are kind of complete and ready, then you go into a ritual that you yourself create. So you already start at lunchtime contemplating and creating which kind of ritual do you choose for yourself. You know the time frame, there are certain parameters. What I don't want to go into detail right now. And then it's happening. So first with others, then for yourself alone. Then you spend the night in no space, no time, nowhere, no you, no one. And then in the morning, at a certain time, we meet and you go silently into the first set of rituals of the rebirth. And that then leads into other sections. And finally, you are in the pool and then coming out. And then from there, we go into creation and emergence. Yeah, so that's the essence of the rituals. And so what we do before and afterwards is also, of course, we use dance, we use meditations, we use contemplations in order to support the process.
You know, as you're describing it, I'm immediately reminded of things I read about mystery school in ancient Egypt, where this was actually standard procedure for initiates. They called it the rite of the sepulchre, and they did it in the Great Pyramids. And all the legends about the resurrection and rebirth from the ancient Sumerian civilization, Ishtar and Tammuz, Isis and Osiris. So it's been around for thousands of years, and it's time to bring it back to the modern day.
It's a central mysterium of every spiritual teaching and every religion. You know, look in Christianity; it's all about
Yes.
that symbolism of death and life and death. And so it is in Egypt, and so it is with in Buddhism, in Tibetan Buddhism, and everywhere you look, that is the center. Yeah? And therefore,
I mean, it's fascinating. It's even in nature, the moon, every moon cycle, every 29 days, it dies and then it is reborn. So how come we're not doing it? I mean, I think maybe it's more relatable for women because we do have the cycle and it's very much in our system that there is like always that thing going. But to bring it back to the mundane life, Connie asked a question that she did the retreats and then it all got lost amongst the daily life. How to not, let's say, okay, you go to the retreat, you go through this amazing rebirth ritual and so on, and then you come home, you unpack your bags, and you kind of still have your mundane life to tackle. What is the bridge?
Yeah. I think everyone will need to experience a couple of times. You come out of a Master One, you come out of a retreat, you come out of that, and then you feel expanded. Yeah? And then you go into life, and the first days are great, and the first weeks maybe even are great. You still are in the experience of the greater you, and then you don't feel it, but you suddenly are being sucked back into the old way of living because the world around you is so strong and moves on, and you go into resonance with that by simply being part of that. And your inner core, your spirituality, your awareness is not established and strong enough. So then you wake up again by suffering, and you do another retreat or you do another process, you wake up again, and then you get sucked back in again. When you have done that a couple of times, then you ask yourself, what makes me vulnerable to losing my expansiveness? What makes me vulnerable to that? And then you see, it's a particular habitual attachment I'm having, how to spend my day. Maybe that routine is reactivating all the old circuits in my brain, and I become again who I was. But I don't want that. I want to be connected to the next version of myself. Then I need to live that version versus falling back into my habit of being the old me. Okay. Yeah. So that's a moment when people are installing rituals, meditations. They take a moment before they start eating, blessing and generating the food with consciousness. I mean, you start living a conscious life. A conscious life is not exactly the same life you had before. You may still do the same job, but you do it in a different way. Yeah? You may still be with the same people, but your relationships are different. Yeah? Your breathing is different. The way you hold yourself is different. The way you sit down is different. The way you walk is different. And when you become the old one, you feel it. You know, you feel contracted again, you feel sluggish, you know, you just want to get rid of that stuff. Well, then start doing it. You know, you can't be the old personality and have a new reality of a greater you. The two do not coexist. You are the one or the other.
Right.
Yeah? So, in other words, to the one who asked the question, I forgot your name right now, get a reset. Yeah, the Rebirth retreat would be perfect for that. A reset yourself, and then from there incorporate that into your life. That leaves you at the end of the day with a smiling soul, so that your rebirth, that your spirituality remains alive and even then expands. Become a spiritual person.
Yeah, because as we love to say in creative consciousness, transformation is a never done deal. Yeah. It's very natural that we.
It's a way of life.
Yeah, it's a way of life. There is always the next chapter and the next level and so on. Yeah, so let's see. Jeroen is sharing that he loves the subject. Oh, Jeroen, why am I not surprised? And he says that we hide death and the dead out of sight in Western society. And it's almost like there is a shadow around death. We don't talk about it openly. We shy away from it in the Western world. But it shows up then in our obsession with, I don't know, zombie movies or murder mysteries and so on. So people, in a way, are craving to relive it, and they do it through fiction or through movies. Anything you can say to that? Why do we shy away from death? Why do we hide it out of sight?
Because it is the ultimate symbol of non-attachment. Yeah, see, death means you can't hold on to the stuff you are attached to anymore. It simply is final. Yeah, and we, as the ego, don't like that. We want to be attached. We want to have control. We want to have power. We want to have definition. We want to have a future projected into from the past into the future, just of course better, higher, da 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 da. And all these attachments are threatened by the very fact that there is an expiration date attached to the body as we know it. Yeah, the body itself may be able to live far longer. You know, they have made studies that it shouldn't be a problem at all to live 200, 250 years or even longer. Yeah, and they are working on that. And it's remarkable that the average time when death came to people even 200 years ago was around 40, 45, you know, that was it. You know, if you got older, you're very lucky, but it wasn't the standard. And today, you know, it's 80, 85, 90 is like normal. right? And maybe in 100 years from now, 250 is normal. But no matter how long we live, it doesn't matter. What matters is how we live. You know, what do you want to do with 250 years if you don't know how to live?
Yeah, then it's just one very long and miserable life, if it's miserable.
Yeah. Okay, wonderful.
Yeah,
So we went
I think
slowly.
we are. I just wanted to say that we are already coming on time. I would like to ask you to share some final inspiration for anyone who got curious about the Rebirth retreat. I think we explained quite in depth what that is. Any final words on that? Just to hear your energy in that.
I just wrote a blog, I think last week. If you don't die before you die, then you die when you die. I just love the simplicity of that. Yeah, and I'm a fan of life, absolutely. And the relationship to death deep inside myself generates a passion for living. And I wonder if I wouldn't have that inside if I would have passion for living. So maybe the two are totally linked together. And yeah.
So people, if you want to get passionate about living, consider getting passionate about dying as well.
That's a good one. Yes, exactly.
We need to put it on the website, and I'm going to post the link to that blog post for anyone who has not seen it. Good. All right, wonderful people. Thank you all who have joined. And
thank you, everyone. Yes, wonderful. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, see you possibly on our ritual and Rebirth retreat. And if you have any questions, just email retreats@creativeconsciousness.com. And be well. Take care. See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.